Hey guys, so this footage here is taken from the second day we were in Jackson Hole, and we had the store to ourselves, and I got to sit down with Ian and have a conversation with him. But I'm using this footage of the second day to talk about this video that we're gonna be viewing here today, part one, with Ian at ARK Silver. And yeah, when we first got to ARK in Jackson Hole, we came in and there was someone else there, and of course I didn't get a chance to ask him, introduce each other formally and ask him if it was okay if I recorded everything. We just came in and some of the conversation got underway before I got a chance to do that. But I got little bits and pieces of recording that I'm going to try to edit in so you can kind of follow along from beginning to end. So if it's a little bit choppy and bad video angle and this and that, those may be some of the reasons for it. So please bear with me in these next couple of minutes in this first video, as it might be a little bit choppy, but when both videos come out, it should kind of complete the story and answer any questions you may have.
Supplies a treasure chest.
Yeah, if you feel that's a good goal right there,
just
fill
put
that
a
up.
full floor in it and fill it. And then it looks like they've shaped these balls are shaped.
Yep.
They're not curved.
Yep.
They planed them to a curve.
Plain, that's what I did on my little one too.
Yeah.
Not to that extent, but
Yeah, so it's just oak pins, dovetail joints.
And it's got the straps keeping it,
Holding it all together.
holding it together. That's just too
Looks
cool.
like the only repair, somebody's put these corner brackets in.
Wow, that's too cool.
Yeah, normally I get into trouble when I buy stuff like this for my wife. But she was pleased when she saw it.
I bet.
Mixing history and silver, it's a great.
Oh my.
So these are a date run, 1813 through to 1820.
1813 to 1820, is that 1415?
Yeah, right the way through, the whole date run.
Wow. So they even made them steady right through.
Yeah.
And these are Bolivian, you said?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know that I'm used to this coin at all. Let's see the reverse on that. That's what caught my eye, but I don't know.
It's the same design as the Spanish pillar dollar.
Okay, that's what I'm thinking of, yep.
So they made them in Mexico, Bolivia, Peru.
Okay.
Where they mine silver, really.
Okay.
They're mint next to the mine or close to the mine.
And then that was kind of a common at that time, the pillar.
Yeah, the pillar dollar. Oh my gosh, that goes way, way back. I wish I've got a gold. I've got a gold doubloons. So
yeah.
They stopped making the doubloons 202 years ago. And then 2 years ago they started making them again after a 200-year break. So
I got one of those.
I bought two of the first 200 struck.
The lynxes. Oh, yes. The 200 struck. Wow,
the first of the 200.
Struck.
Yeah.
Wow, cool.
Yeah, so that's got the same pillar dollar.
Right.
This is where the dollar sign comes from.
Okay.
That scroll around the pillar there. That's where the dollar sign comes from.
You're right. Yeah, that is the same. That's cool. That's
so after the War of Independence, the US didn't have a mint, so they used the Bolivian and the. I don't think I've got the.
So this is the
Mexican pillar dollar.
Pillar dollar, and the reverse looks the same on both the Mexican pillar dollar and the Peruvian. Is that correct? Or
yeah.
Okay, it's the same stamp and everything basically.
We could compare it to the Bolivian one, couldn't we? Actually.
Okay, cool.
The Bolivian one out the window.
Man, oh man, that's just.
It's gorgeous, isn't it?
That's the best one I've ever seen by far. And of course, this is the modern design that they just came out with a year or two ago. The reverse proof. Now, is the Mint, the same mint? Like, would it be close to the same?
But we've got the same theme. We've got the crown, and you've got the two pillars.
2 pillars, 2 crowns.
Yeah.
It's just this one has a coat of arms, perhaps, and this is on a, looks like a couple.
I think that's the globe there.
Globes, yeah.
So that is a contemporary, how they first mapped the globe.
Yep. Beautiful coins.
The Bolivian ones are fairly affordable. They're in the sort of $400 range, these graded ones.
Yeah, I've seen a few offered, maybe just not this as nice as the ones you have here.
Same.
You really need to see it in sunlight, so we'll go out.
Osmium.
Yeah.
Okay, is that how you
Osmium,
pronounce
yeah.
Osmium. Where does it come
My
from?
goodness.
So in 1804, it's also the rarest non-radioactive element. If we mine the whole Earth till there was nothing left, we might find 7 to 14 cubic meters. That sounds a lot, but we're not going to mine the Earth till there's none left.
Sure.
What we'll practically be able to recover ethically is about a cubic meter, which is about 23 tons.
That's crazy heavy for that small of a cubic.
It's the densest element, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's that scarcity. So this guy, Wolf, he met a Swiss scientist. The Swiss scientist spent 40 years working out how to crystallize it.
Right, I was going to ask you, there's something was done to this
Yeah,
for it to be that.
I'll get a piece out the window in a minute. So in its refined form, it's a silver grey powder. It reacts with oxygen and forms toxic compounds. It forms osmium tetroxide, which destroys your lung tissue, and amongst other things. So it's very not safe to handle or store. I mean, a lot of people do buy the raw osmium in little vials and sintered cubes and beads, but it's dangerous.
Really?
It will react with oxygen and form toxic compounds. Even if it's got even if you sinter it into a cube, the slightest little nano hole, it'll let the oxygen in and it'll react.
Oh.
So this Swiss scientist, understanding the scarcity of it, took 40 years to work out how to crystallize it. So it's a similar process to making diamonds from carbon, except you're making something beautiful from the rarest element, whereas diamonds are made from the 5th most common element. We're never going to run out of carbon, but we will run out of osmium.
Wow.
This is the price action from when it was launched, 2017. It's just on a steady 15% a year.
Cool.
And now we're around $1,400. This is out of date.
Are we talking
Per
a
gram.
gram?
Per
Okay.
gram, yeah.
$1,400 a gram.
Yeah.
Okay. And so how many grams would that
Do you
be?
know? I don't know. That's about a $35,000 watch. That one.
How are you able to afford that?
I'm not. Ingo lent it to me. It's his. He lent it to me. Let me get people.
As far as you know, somebody else is selling this?
We're the first retailer. We've just got a friend in Texas who's going to start selling it in the Texas area.
Oh my.
And this is artificial light.
Artificial light.
Hopefully the sun will
Wow.
come out in a minute, because the camera can't cope with the detail. It just...
That's unbelievable.
So the structure is perfect hexagonal mirrors stacked up to make the crystalline shape, and that's why this reflects the light straight back at you. It's just incredible, those blues and the greys and the silver. That's pure osmium.
So it's somehow congealing together,
It's
crystallizing
like
together.
you bake a pizza on the oven floor. Whatever they do, this is formed on something, not of something.
Okay.
So the
Yep,
back, you can
that's
see
what I
the
was
crystal.
wondering.
You can see the crystals on the back.
Yeah. Okay.
So obviously it's in a vapor over 9,000 Fahrenheit. The rest is secret, so I don't know whatever they use, vacuum, pressure. I don't know whatever their secret source is to tie it.
Yeah.
It took 40 years. It took them 40 years to be able to crystallize it evenly. And then a few years ago, about 3-4 years ago, they were approached by the Swiss watch makers. Several of them said, if you can make it more uniform, we will use it for watches, we'll create demand.
Wow.
So they had to start again. And they worked out how to get it more even. Because
Wow.
before they'd have some crystals that were a little bit higher and a little bit lower, and you couldn't make a watch face out of it. So when they did that, the value actually doubled because they took all the stock they had made, they went back, basically melted it down and turned it into a vapor and you know, redid the process.
Wow.
So they have a natural monopoly. The Swiss scientists who can make this, there's no one else comes close.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it's decades of research and expertise. And you're using the rarest element as well. So there's a very finite supply of the raw osmium. Raw osmium is relatively cheap. You know, it's $500, $800 an ounce.
Really?
Not $1,400 a gram. But what you're paying for when you buy this is that expertise and that process.
Crystallizing
And not only
into
that, I mean, if you go on that QR code, if you pull that up.
Okay, I would have to do that later, but... Okay, you better hand that back over to the man with the plan.
You can look at it for a bit.
There's also a little bit of yellow too at it.
Can you see yellow in there?
Yeah.
That could be the lighting.
Okay.
Right, reflection.
So that pulls up high resolution 2D pictures,
Of that
3D
same-
scans of that very
of
piece.
that piece.
It has a unique cipher. It has a certificate showing who the owner is. Only the owner can transfer ownership.
Oh wow, cool.
So
It's trackable
yeah,
on
it's
its own,
trackable. That's the description. That's the weight. 4.222 grams. Tells you the dimension, secondary dimension, average thickness, sparkle grade,
Oh.
value in euros.
Wow.
So that's about nearly $6,000 that piece.
So there's a sparkle grade as well, huh?
So depending on how long they run the crystallization process, the crystals build and get bigger and bigger and bigger. But you've got to run the process longer and you get a higher failure rate. So the longer the crystallization process is run, the thicker the piece will
Okay.
get. So you're getting more osmium in the piece. So jewelers, watchmakers, they select it for what effect they want. So you've got 2 to 5 sparkle grade is typical.
Wow.
But the difference could be huge. See, that's a 3. If it was a 5, it could be nearly twice the weight. So instead of $6,000, it could be $10,000, $11,000.
Wow, okay.
Now it sounds crazy and it sounds crazy expensive, but when you look at smaller pieces, like a teardrop,
Mm-hmm. Gorgeous.
you're down into a few $100s. Generally the smaller pieces, that pulls you up.
Pull it right
So
up.
instead of 4 grams, you've got 0.149 gram. Sparkle grade 2, so it's a finer, so it's thinner. €225, so
I
about
see.
$240.
Yeah, pretty soon I'd be able to buy that.
So the smaller pieces are at the moment highly affordable.
So that's like a under $300 piece.
Yeah,
Then.
yeah.
And so you're not terribly scared to handle this stuff.
No, I mean, people say, oh, is it going to crumble in your fingers
Yeah.
like glitter?
Yeah.
No.
It's
It's actually more abrasive than diamond. So if
Wait,
you're
hold.
playing scissors, paper, rock, this would scratch diamond.
Okay. Okay.
It's
Wow.
a similar hardness, way denser, and way more reflective. I mean, so this is artificial light. I know I keep saying it, but when you see this in sunlight, multiply that by 3. You can't. It's just captivating.
Wow.
So if you had that as a pair of earrings,
Right.
30, 40 feet across a room, you'd see that sparkle. Whereas a
That
diamond,
is
you
cool.
wouldn't-
Wow.
you
Look
wouldn't
at
see
it. Look at it from here. Just pop.
You
and
wouldn't
that's
even
something.
see it.
Wow.
You know, so
That's cool.
For under $500, you could have 2 of these and make the
Earrings.
the most exclusive earrings ever.
Wow. That is awesome.
And you just don't get that with diamond.
Wow.
Wow, that actually looks good when it's on top.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
Let me get a zoom in on that.
You really need like those cameras with huge big lenses.
Yeah.
That they used to use like a Hasselblad. You need something like that to get the
We should have
The
bought
iPhones.
ours.
You've got one.
Well, it's not huge,
Yeah,
but it's
but the
more of a
iPhones
professional.
can't
It's
seem to
not a
cope
phone.
with the amount of information.
Man, there's a lot of color popping out of there, though. Look at that. And that's not scaring you?
No,
Wow,
no,
okay.
it's one piece of metal.
Wow.
So yeah,
Huh.
it's incredibly robust for jewelry.
Let me see the back of that in the light again.
We've sort of lost the sunlight, haven't we?
A
There?
little bit, but...
So yeah, not as a piece. It was incredible.
So
And
it's all inlaid all around.
500 and here we go. It tells you here 541 custom cuts of osmium, crystalline osmium, 298 diamonds, rubies, sapphires, savarites, all hand set in 18 karat gold. 32 months to build it.
Oh.
What is the point of this violin, if I may ask?
So there's two Germans who are entrepreneurs, wealthy. They saw potential showcasing osmium and teamed up with one of the world's finest Lutherians, Edgar Roos, who actually made the violin.
Wow.
And it is beautiful. We had two separate violinists played it. One was in tears describing how she couldn't believe how rich the up end, the end, the lower end. It was just fairy tale
Quite
stuff.
amazing
It's
piece,
just
huh?
fairy tale stuff.
What are they going to auction that off, or is that
It's
like
on a world tour.
world
So
tour?
its stop in the US was here.
Okay.
So it is for sale.
It is going to, they are going to put it up.
Yeah, it will probably end up in
Museum.
It'll be in the Far East. No, it'll be in the Far. It'll be a wealthy Arab family.
Yeah,
probably.
yeah, something like that.
So Edgar Roos made the previous most expensive violin, and that was snapped up
Really?
by a Saudi family. Yeah.
Wow. How cool.
But not only are they going to make this, they're going to do the whole string quartet.
Serious?
Yeah. So when this is sold, they're going to start making the cello or whatever they're going to choose next. Yeah.
Wow.
But that'll probably take another 2-3 years.
time.
Yeah.
That'll help.
To hold it. I mean, we had it outside in the sunlight. It's just with the mix of with the veneers and even the details around the pegs here and on the fret and just.
Wow.
And it hasn't actually got a picture of the back. The back was even more spectacular than the front.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. That'll bring some.
So it seems, I mean, my dad, he doesn't get it. He thinks it's frivolous. He's a scientist, a chemist, and it's like, he doesn't get it.
Really?
I get this. I wouldn't
sure.
personally buy it. But Ingo, he saw how if you can add desire to the scarcest element, now you're going to bring value.
Sure. Oh,
and that's what he's doing.
This will help as well in the
Exactly.
whole, for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what we find, they take a piece to a goldsmith and they say, can you make this bracelet? Can you make this ring? Can you make this? Goldsmith makes it. And then within a few days or weeks, they're calling them up. We want to buy some, we want to make our own pieces. So they start designing their own pieces and it just feeds like this.
Yeah.
So that's, I think the US, that the market's going to get opened up through jewelry. Because it offers something new, exciting, sparkly, genuinely the rarest metal, the rarest anything. And the potential for a steady gain. And at some point, when they run out of the physical supply of the raw osmium, it's going to pop. Now, whether that's 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, this is good.
That's crazy.
I always thought silver would be the first metal to run out.
To pop and.
But it won't run out because there's enough in physical form, it will come back onto the market at a certain price. When you crystallize osmium, we make beautiful things out of it, beautiful watches.
Right.
That's never going to get melted down and
Right.
turned into raw osmium to make more crystalline osmium. It's staying as that watch for
Right. Yep.
forever.
Yep.
And wealthy families will buy them. That's how they store and grow their wealth, and they'll pass it on.
Yep.
And it's probably tax-free, isn't it? If you pass a watch on,
Right.
There's probably no taxable event.
Right. Yep.
European families are already using it to trade with privately. They're buying multi-million packages, and now you can, in your hand, you can hold millions of dollars, and you can transact with it.
Wow.
And it's 100% proven. You don't need anybody else to prove it. You don't need blockchain to prove it. You don't need a banker to prove it. So you can transact with it, high-value transactions.
Wow.
conveniently. Potentially, it could make a worldwide currency. You could have every TransUnion, every major currency exchange, money changer. You could sell a disc or buy a disc, and you could transact because it would be a trusted physical element. Especially what we've been seeing happening in the banking industry.
Yep.
At what point did a bank stop trusting the banks? You know, we saw that in 2008.
Presently.
As soon as they stop trusting each other because they know their garbage is the other bank's garbage is probably the same or worse than their garbage, and they really know how bad their setup is, you get breakdowns. So then real stuff, gold, silver, fine art, collectibles, osmium, we'd be able to transact with it because it'll be trusted. No counterparty risk.
Yeah, that's one of the questions I was hoping to ask you. A few, maybe we can sit down later tomorrow or something. But is your thoughts on, like, I see gold is already pretty much probably, I would say, agreed upon by central banks and most people that it's coming back monetarily.
It's
the
coming back.
underpinning.
I mean, what was it, 4 years ago, the Bank of International Settlements decreed
It's a tier 1, yeah.
Tier 1 asset, whereas US debt was only, well, we know US debt isn't tier 1 anything.
Right. But it was claimed to be, the cash was, yeah.
Exactly. The soundest form of transaction security was supposed to be US debt. So now they put gold alongside it.
Yep.
Well, really, there's no comparison.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Because it takes a certain amount of effort to mine it, refine it, mint it.
For sure.
It probably not far off. I don't know what the order sustaining cost is. It varies from mine to mine, but it's probably in the high hundreds or maybe $1,000 an ounce. Probably not getting any cheaper as we move forward.
Yep.
And that's why there's the play on silver. I think silver was so close to its all-in sustaining cost, its genuine all-in sustaining cost, because even those costs don't reflect the failed exploration, the failed companies. That is a cost that's borne.
Sure.
You know, money and effort is put in, people buy shares in a company and they never produce anything.
Right.
That was needed to incentivize geologists to go out and search for silver and companies to form. So silver's up at its floor.
That was my question, is do you see silver pulling back into the monetary realm as well? Because I was telling her, just with industrial use, we're already pushing towards a deficit. And let alone if well, I mean, the way things are looking, if the monetary system keeps declining as it is, I mean, that's where if we get any, even like Rick Rule would say, revert to the mean with silver, is just gonna,
as a percentage of assets under management. Yeah. I mean, precious metals about 0.5% of the 600 trillion supposed assets under management.
Right.
Yeah, tiny. Just industrial use could easily use all the silver supply. I mean, the last 2.5 years deficits have eaten away the supposed previous decade surpluses. We haven't got, there's no banks around the world who've got vaults full of this stuff.
Right.
That's gone. Most of it's been melted. The rest is in private hands now. So that's not going to get released into the market. You know, I don't think there's any massive stockpiles that anybody would release now with silver so cheap.
Right. No, I agree.
You know, we're at that point where, I mean, the big banks, they've had their fun manipulating it. The big bullion banks, everybody knows the one that took the big RICO hit, nearly $1 billion fine.
Yep. Yeah, so I mean, you sounds like you're kind of seeing it in the same light. Like you said, the mean was 2%, and we're at like 0.2 or something now. Silver monetarily, 0.5%.
I don't know if that's even accurate.
So if we just go back to a couple percent, which is just too easy.
I mean, you talk to any financial advisor, any economist. I was talking to a high school economics teacher a few months ago. I asked him, do you know when they stopped teaching about gold and silver as money? And he said, no. I said, 1979. He said, yeah, that's when I was born. Yeah, he's teaching kids about what is money and finance, you know, but doesn't know what
real money is. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of why I think, you know, it's such an explosive possibility there is
Yeah.
because of just somewhat of a, whether you call it brainwashing or just where we've
Conditioning,
right, however we ended up
and
here.
it's been highly successful. The US dollar has been highly successful.
Yeah.
You've got, since the end of the Second World War, America was the only country left standing industrially. You had to succeed. Companies had to grow, shares grew in real terms.
Right.
But I think since we've had these huge deficits going way back, I mean, you'll know the president's better than me. I mean,
I doubt it.
Trump doubled the deficit.
Right, yep.
Obama doubled the
It's
deficit.
just, yep.
Bush doubled the deficit. I don't think we can double the deficit in a presidential term again without a collapse in confidence in the dollar. Not everybody, but enough to come out of the party, to come out of the game of musical chairs and say, I'm going to sit down now.
Yep.
And realise there's only 2 chairs left in the room and there's 12 people or 20
And
people.
you even seems like you're starting to see that in the banking sector yourself. Like you were saying, the banking sector is even very shaky on
Yeah, I mean, if they mark to market what their supposed assets are, they're way underwater and no meaningful recovery probably for decades.
Right.
You know, even if they waited out for some of this so-called commercial paper or the long treasuries they hold, with the devaluation, what they would get at the end would leave them underwater.
Right. Yep.
You know, they still have to pay for buildings and staff and shareholders, and all the C-suite have to have their remuneration. So yeah, the banking system is not sustainable.
Yeah, I agree, and it'll probably take, like, I don't know, I watch Lynette Zhang a lot, and she's always talking about that overnight reset where they're just gonna back up to gold again. And I mean, I see that. I mean, I see there's got to be some type of spring somewhere for sure in silver, because we're like right there.
Yeah, I mean, when we get that compulsory, fully digital system, and in a way we're there. If you look at the history of the Western financial system, we didn't go digital, but when you had checking accounts appeared from nowhere, now everything was ledger written, theoretical. Yeah. We went away from physical. Yep. So way back even then, it was phony, fake. No, you know, nobody could actually go and collect all of the cash that's in their checking accounts. And we're way past that now. The hypothecation is just ridiculous.
Yeah, for sure. Hey guys, I hope you'll stay with us for the next one, where we sit down with Ian and talk precious metals and also look at more beautiful examples of silver, gold, and osmium. Stay with us.